Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Verdict's In. I'm your host, Nicole.
I'm Gary.
And today we're talking about American sports story, Aaron Hernandez, episode 10, the season finale, entitled Who Killed Aaron Hernandez? Gary, what are your thoughts overall?
It was a pretty good episode, very interesting. I got a lot to say about a lot of things. So, what about you? How'd you feel about it?
I thought it was a pretty good episode. Quick, they were able to do everything in the everything that happened, those final moments of his life and final months of his life pretty quickly in one episode. So I was impressed with that.
Yeah, it was well written.
Yeah, good episode. So it starts off and we see doctors cutting open a skull and they're talking about the brain and testing it, and we will go back to that scene at the end. And then throughout the episode, we get this radio show host, we get like podcasters talking about it. So I'm guessing they used real life conversations that radio people were doing back at that time.
Yeah.
And these radio show hosts, they're discussing sports. They're making jokes about Aaron, about OJ. And that's just that first scene of us seeing the radio people. But then we see Aaron in jail, and he's having his it's a final, to me, I consider it a final moment with Tanya. She's visiting him in jail. He's telling her everything hurts. He's getting migraines. And Tanya, she says she was able to get out due to compassionate release because they didn't want her dying on their watch, And her only regret is letting Aaron down. And she says no matter what, she's proud of him. And they say their goodbyes. And I don't know. To me, it felt like that was the last time they saw or spoke to each other.
What do you think about what the radio hosts were saying?
Some of the things they talk about later was very insensitive. Here, it was kind of surface level. They made jokes about, I think it must have been a start of a new season. They made a reference to Aaron and OJ. So nothing in particular here, but I know based on our notes, some other things that they say later on was sort of disgusting.
I really think that this part of it was disgusting also. A lot of people make jokes about cases like this, but it's usually after. It's not during the trial. It's not when everything is fresh. You're talking, this guy's on trial for killing these kids, and you're making jokes about it where his family could see it. And it's not a joke to people's family. We're in this city too. We don't want to turn on the radio and you're making a joke out of my son or my daughter, whoever it was who died in the vehicle. I don't want to turn on the radio and you're insensitively making a joke about my family.
I agree.
Especially this fresh is on trial. We finally found out who it was, and he's going to court for it. He's in trial for it now. I think it's the wrong time for this to be entertainment.
I agree. I think we discussed it when we did the People vs. OJ, because people were making jokes back then. Like, they only cared about the juice. And it was like when we watched it and now you see, the actress that played Nicole, and you see the dead body and all the blood, and you're like, how? I know people weren't trying to make a joke about the victim, but in essence, you are making a joke about the victim. If you're making a joke about the crime and the person committing this crime, you're essentially making a joke about the victims and not being sensitive to them and their families. So yeah, it was wrong.
Yeah, and I think timing is everything. I know they wanted to be an entertainment moment, but timing is everything.
Yeah, the rule is you shouldn't really make jokes about certain things until everyone that those people knew are gone. Like, people
no, that's not going to happen.
People make jokes about the Titanic, but imagine if someone was making a joke 100 years earlier. Like, it's insensitive. It's sick. Those people died, but it's easier to kind of make a little like, oh, you go on a cruise, like, oh, hope we don't be like the Titanic, because I don't think anyone that was involved in the Titanic is alive, any survivors. So even then, some people may say, hey, that's insensitive. And actually they do. Even now, when people wear Titanic shirts on cruises and stuff like that, people be like, yo, that's insensitive. So you do have to, tell me, you have to give it time. And right then, it was way too early. And some people may say the Titanic is still like, no, still wrong.
Yeah, a lot of people may say that the OJ.
The OJ, yeah, because his kids are alive.
But I'm a person about timing, because you're not gonna skip around a topic, a subject for forever. Like, sometimes the stuff had to be talked about. I'm about timing, like right then and there while they're on trial. It's fresh. This stuff just happened. I can only imagine how the family felt, especially if, they're still in the city. Like the BMF show out right now. Like there's a lot of people that celebrate the BMF show day in and day out, and I just can't, because I remember how Atlanta felt during that time, and it wasn't fun times for everybody.
Right.
Especially for all these victims and the victim's family.
Yeah.
Some people in there had integrity, but there's a lot of guys that was a part of that didn't have any integrity at all. Like the guy who shot the guy who he almost ran over. Bobby Brown nephew got stabbed in the face in a club. But so everything is not fun and games to everybody.
Right. So we get a scene with Aaron in jail. He's hanging out with his fellow inmates. Things almost do become a situation with another inmate when they start talking ball, and the inmate's like, I can whoop your ass, da-da-da. But his lawyers come to save the day, thankfully. And Aaron, the first thing he asks them is like, hey, y'all think y'all can get the TV and the rec fixed? And because it was working when I got here, but now it's not working. And especially if you know anything about the prison system, or you watch like Orange is New Black or any prison shows, like even when we watch OJ, when you have nothing else and the TV is all you have, it is life. It is
right.
like, you know what I mean? If that's your only source of entertainment. No, and I'm assuming he has access to books and everything like that. But his lawyer shut it down like, yo, you don't get used to being here.
We're not trying to get you used to this. We want you to feel like this is uncomfortable.
Right.
Right.
We don't want you comfortable.
Because we already know, like he told his Aunt Tanya that he's hurting. Mm-hmm. That, he's hurting. His body aches, and he has a headache. So I think the TV is the only thing that he has to escape that.
Yeah.
And I can understand why he's hurting bad now. His body aches because he's not active anymore. Now, all the hits he took, everything that he's done in his past, is catching up to him earlier than later. Like, most men, at past 35, 40, that's when, that stuff start catching up to you because you're active.
You know what? I didn't even consider that. I thought he was maybe hurting now because he's not able to self-medicate while he's in jail. Like previously. We did eventually see him self-medicate while he's in jail, but he probably doesn't have the full access to it, where before he was staying high all the time.
Anything that you can get on the streets, you can get in jail.
Yep, well, he definitely did later on. Well, his lawyer mentions, hey, I got Casey Anthony off. Y'all know how I feel about Casey Anthony. You heard me talk about her on other shows. And he says Bradley is going to testify. That's Sherrod. And Aaron still denies. He's like, I didn't shoot him. I'm like, damn, Aaron could deny us to the very end.
Yeah, he denied it to the end.
Yeah.
But he's on trial. He's supposed to.
Right. And he needs his lawyers on his side. So if you be like, yo, I shot him, then the lawyers is going to be kind of harder for them to probably really, protect you or kind of be on your side if they know. Like if you told them, they know, but if you tell them outright, there's no denying it.
Right. Like for the outside looking in, it really doesn't make sense at all that Aaron shot him. We know, we saw it. But if someone was to tell you that story, you're like, okay, what did Aaron have to gain from it, and why didn't he say anything sooner? So I think that's why the lawyers probably really don't believe Aaron shot him.
Yeah, I think the only thing that he had to gain from it is the same thing he felt he could gain from killing Odin was he felt Odin might know his secrets, just like he knows for sure that Sherrod knows his secrets. So that's the only thing I can think of why he would want to do it, because he was paranoid. Like, okay, even though, yes, Sherrod was doing dirt with him, he might be scared that Sherrod's going to tell on him, just like he was scared Odin was going to tell on him. So I feel like that could be a motive, which it seemed like when we watched it, that was his motive. Like, yo, who's going to snitch on me? When Sherrod was like, I know all your secrets.
That part about it is a motive that he would shoot him. But what makes it what's like put a like real hole in it is Sherrod didn't mention it. Like he lived after it and never said anything to the law, and that's what killed the motive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we see that often, especially in that type of lifestyle, in the gang lifestyle. People might get beat up, they might get robbed, they might get sent to us by the gang, but they're gonna always be quiet because, hey, I'm not getting the police involved.
Well, let's not get television mixed with reality. In reality, most people on the street snitch. You see that with any big case, any major case you've seen so far that went to court. With the Young Thug trial, there was people that told BMF, there was like almost half of them or a big percentage of them turned state witness. TV is one thing where they say, you know, we're not all the mafia trials. You see snitches. There's Sammy the Bull or whatever. You see there's snitches in there, everything. So, like I said, when we see TV, we think, you know, nobody's gonna say nothing. It's not gonna be this. It's not gonna be that. This is what the lifestyle is. But people in the lifestyle know that somebody next to you is going to tell.
That's true.
If not two or three.
Now, his lawyers say, hey, we need your white mom to come up in court because, you know, optics is one thing. And when he calls his mom, she was cool at first, but she's like, no, we're not going to be at the new trial. She just can't. She's actually now hating all the attention. Remember when he first got arrested, she was loving the attention, but she hates it. She's like, pretty much people are blaming me, saying like, I raised a monster. And she's like, this I can't pretend that you didn't do what you did. And this is your mess to clean up.
Well, we know his mom always been trash. She's been trash. I mean, when she started going to court for it was for personal reasons. And I think I said that during that podcast. She wanted to say that I was here for you, you know, from the beginning. Because remember, she wanted to be needed at that time. When he went to court the first time.
Yeah.
When he got found guilty, I guess she was like, okay, I can't make this about me anymore. He's guilty. You know? Right. So I can't really make this. I have nothing to gain. I have nothing to gain anymore.
Yeah, I definitely think she's not there at this second trial because remember, they keep saying like you're if we get you off. Later on, Shia even talks about it, and it's like, yeah, you can get me off this trial, but I've already been convicted for life in the first trial, and getting a conviction overturned is not an easy feat. So I'm guessing, and not trying to say the mom was right or wrong, I don't know, but I feel like she feels there's nothing, as you mentioned, right, for her to gain. Like, yo, even if you get off, you're still in there. You're not going to be able to help me.
Right, she has nothing to gain. Mm-hmm. I think his lawyers think he has a pretty good case to get the overturned, get the first one overturned. Uh-huh. I mean, it's a money thing too. They know he's gonna pay them to work on it. You know, this is their client. This is money coming in, but I'm pretty sure they think they have a good case in overturning it.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds confident. So Aaron goes to play ball. This is after the call with his mom and, you know, all the inmates. Everyone's talking shit because he's a big football player. They're actually playing basketball. One of them kind of knocks Aaron down, the one that he had issues with earlier. And Aaron gets back up and he does get the upper hand. He beats this guy up. And then it's like cut to and he's in group. So I'm like, how much time is lapsing from when the police came in and security came in and knocked him down and brought up the fight to now he's in like some religious group and he can't remember John 3:16 and they talk about being free and all that stuff. And I'm like, how much time has passed? Because it's almost like he was in a daze and then it was like he woke up and was like, oh, okay, I'm in group now.
Yeah, I think the writers just was trying to show a pattern of his brain decaying.
Yes.
I think that's the only thing. We don't know if this happened, didn't happen. When I looked at it, I'm like, okay, they're trying to show us that pattern by making laps and him being more confused each lap, everything that happens. So that's what I think this was about, you know, them trying to tell the story.
Yeah.
One thing about the guys that were like super happy at beating this guy in basketball, it's understandable. I mean, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, why are they happy that they beating a football guy at basketball? You play basketball, he plays football. Although Aaron played basketball back in the days, he's not a basketball player. But I guess when you're in prison and there's nothing else going for you, you got to hold on to a little bit you have. Hold on to a little bit of wins. Yeah. Like the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. This dude beat up an old man.
Right.
But
they want to be able to brag to their family on visits. Like, I beat Aaron Hernandez.
But, you know, sometimes there's some people that just want to hold on to the little wins when we don't have anything else going.
Well, we get another scene of the radio show host discussing Aaron's second trial. They mentioned that the victims' families are now suing the Patriots because they felt, hey, the Patriots condoned this type of behavior.
As they should.
So you agree? Yeah. I mean, yeah definitely. If I was them, I'd be suing everybody. Aaron, the Patriots, whoever else I felt was involved. or who led to this type of behavior.
Well, the Patriots are the last ones because they knew what he went through in college.
Yep.
And by them signing him, that's condoning his behavior.
Now, this next thing I really liked, we get to see Bradley again. He comes into court with glasses on. He's looking very professional. His haircut was nice and sharp. I at first thought, I was like, how did he get his eye back? And then later on, I see that it's a fake eye and everything like that.
Yeah.
And he says, he emptied the clip on those guys. And when Aaron's lawyer starts kind of, talking back, cross-examining him and saying, like, you're a gang member, you got a nickname Shooter, you got a nickname Rock, you be doing gang activities. I feel like the prosecutors did not do a good job preparing Sherrod. Like, they should have did all of this and made sure he keeps his cool. For him not to keep his cool, he played right into the defense. And he goes off at the trial saying, like, you tried to kill me when all I ever did was look out for you. I'm blind, motherfucker.
The prosecutor just picked a bad witness. It's always going to be questions when a person already have bad character, when you already know he's been in prison for doing this, and that. It doesn't matter if they're telling the truth. They're not a good witness. They're not, we're judging what they say after their character. You think if this dude do X, Y, Z, he won't do this? He won't lie now? Yeah, this dude, if he do X, Y, and Z, we believe he can lie.
Yeah, if I were the prosecutors, when I would have went first, because I'm assuming they went first and questioned him, you get all that shit out of the way. Like, hey, you're known to run in the gangs. You've been in trouble. You're getting a deal today for your plea, and you get all that away. So then the defense can't use it because you've already brought it up.
Well, you already killed your case.
Maybe. And
they don't want to kill their case. They're just hoping that the defense don't know.
No. I mean, even a half-good prosecutor would have known that the defense, especially if it's a defense that was able to get another murderer off, Casey Anthony, then they should have known that he was going to pull out everything. I mean, it's not like Sherrod, his guilty crimes were not a secret. They can easily pull his record. That's lawyer 101.
But I'm saying, I guarantee they was hoping some things weren't mentioned.
Yeah.
They was hoping on it.
Yeah. But I feel like they failed as a...
Yeah, they don't want to kill their case at the beginning by saying... The criminal that he is.
Yeah, no, I still I definitely feel like that would have been the way to go, but
I feel like they should have brought him on at all. I think that's what really killed the case, because now you have people thinking, "Damn, he's the one who did it."
Mm-hmm. They brought in his Ortiz, and he was in freaking a jail outfit when he came in the last case, and they were able to find Aaron guilty. So they
well,
you know what I mean?
I think Aaron's team just did a bad job the first one.
Yeah,
they just did a horrible job. He got the local team, and he didn't get the team that he should have got. He didn't get the Cochran team.
Yeah, because to me, the Odin case had less evidence. I mean, that text that Odin did send to his sister was damning. But to me, this second trial was more evidence because they had the car. They had they found, I don't know, they know there was evidence in that car to know that was the car that was used in the crime. So I don't know how that was not a slam dunk to where the Odin case could have been questionable.
I think it was a slam dunk because all the evidence they said they had was kind of flawed. Like the video they had where Aaron got into it with him at a club. Well, we find out they didn't even catch that part on tape. That Aaron even spoke to the people. So that's out the window.
Yeah, I felt like that whole whatever happened in the club was... I mean, I understand it was the motive for Aaron going after him, but I felt like it was irrelevant, where if they knew the car itself was involved in the murder, they knew that for whatever reason. So I feel like them knowing that the car itself was involved and it was Aaron's car and they can place him at that city at the time of the murder, I don't know. That to me, the not having the video inside the club to me wasn't as relevant as the actual car.
Well, that's going to be my next statement. Mm-hmm. Also with the car, they didn't bring the car up at all. So maybe they didn't find anything in it. Maybe
they didn't bring it up in these scenes that they showed. Right. That was not the whole trial.
Well, just what we've seen, I don't even see the car mentioned. They don't even bring that the car was hidden here, there during the scene. So I'm guessing that probably fell apart. Maybe the car's wiped down. Maybe they don't have what they think they have. The people didn't shoot back at the car, so there's no bullet holes. What are we looking for? Gun residue and maybe shells?
Yeah.
Who to say that they didn't clean it out already?
All right, so Aaron's lawyers come see him in jail again. They ask him if he knows someone named Chris. They know about a Cabo trip. And they're saying now, the prosecutor is saying, yo, he's a closeted gay man, and that's why he ended up killing, because he was just keeping all that in. And Aaron says, you cannot let him testify. And he asked his lawyers to tell Cheyenne ahead of time, because they're like, we're going to talk to Cheyenne, or do you want to? And Aaron's like, first, like, why? And they're like, well, we don't want her to hear about this theory the first time in court. What are your thoughts? Because I know when we were watching, you had some opinions.
I thought that was just a weird argument in the first place. Like, I guess that's why the judge threw it out. That's not even strong enough. Oh, he was sad he was closeted, so he had to kill people. That's really not a argument. And this is something that is just hearsay. I think the prosecution wanted to turn into a clown show, and that's how they always fail. I'm sorry, that's how instead of just pounding people's head that this guy's a killer. they find a way to turn it into a clown show. They get the media talking about it. They get this person talking about it. That's how Casey Anthony got off. It turned into a clown show. That's how prosecutors always fail, by turning things. OJ, it turned into a clown show. So that's one thing. The judge probably like, yo, that's not even enough. I'm not having this in my court. We moving on. The next thing is, I'm surprised that Chris Chris was married. I'm surprised that Chris wanted that information out. What would this do for Chris? And I know the prosecutors ain't just pull a ticket and say, oh, they're having an affair, because people go places all the time and share rooms all the time. Like, if you were in a room with your homegirls, y'all just got a room, nobody's thinking like, hey, they're having an affair. Or a guy go somewhere with his friends and they share a room. Nobody would think that they're having an affair. So this had to be told to them by somebody. And I think the only other person that would know is Chris.
Well, when they tell Cheyenne, she does not take the news well. She's mad. She's like, no, he's a man. He's a man. And I know people are going to have something to say about that. But they were able to stop Chris from testifying. I don't know if maybe Chris was okay with testifying because he's already told his wife. Maybe he told her he was bi. Maybe he told her about his past. We don't know. And that was the last we see Chris. He once they say nope, he's not going to testify, he leaves the court.
He vanished.
Well, this is when we find out one of Aaron's lawyers is actually gay. And Aaron starts asking like, hey, did something happen to you? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, did somebody mess with you when you were a kid? And that's when his lawyer's like, not everyone who's gay was sexually abused, and not everyone who was sexually abused turns gay. And he said he's just gay, and anyone who doesn't like it can fuck off. And because he was the one that was able to turn this to get Chris's testimony denied, because he's like, no, we're not doing this. Off the whole LGBT down here.
But while some people are fighting for those rights, you have other people that's probably a part of the community that's still trying to make a show out of it. And that's all this would do. Like, we're trying to prove that this guy is bad by bringing up his sexuality. No, you're not going to bring up he's bad and he's sad because he's gay. Not on my watch.
Right.
If you make stuff a clown show, people are going to laugh. People are going to treat it as entertainment. People are not going to take it as serious.
Yeah, I definitely think you don't want to make it a clown show, but it is the prosecutor's responsibility as well as the defense responsibility to tell a story. When you tell it in a story format, it makes it easy for people to digest and understand. So you lay out the facts. You don't make it a clown show, but you tell it in easy, this from this to this to this to this. This is the story we're telling. And they tried to bring that as their part of their story. And luckily the defense was like, no, get that out of here.
Yeah, it would have failed. It would have failed anyway.
Well, we get Shay. She goes to see Aaron. I thought she was going to bring it up, but she doesn't. And he says, I'm sorry. Like, your life should have been different. I should have been better. I should have tried harder. And Shay's like in La La Land. She's like, no, like, well, we're going to get you out. You're going to come home. You'll play ball again. We'll be a family again. Girl, even if he got out, I don't think he would have ever played ball again. Like, do you think Shy was living in La La Land, or do you think if he was able to get the first case overturned, he could have went back, maybe not necessarily to the Patriots, but do you think he would have been able to make it to another team and kind of live a semi-normal life? I mean, OJ didn't really either. After he got found not guilty, I don't feel like he still went and golfed and everything like that, but
OJ was not playing football anymore. Sure.
No,
OJ
I know.
like,
I didn't mean that
okay,
case. I
yeah,
meant that he was able to go out and live like a normal life, even though he was in the biggest case on one of the biggest cases in the world. To me, he was still able to go, and it wasn't the exact same before he went in, but he was able to still live a good life.
Yeah, he was
until he wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't the same life, but he was able to live a good life. But I don't think it would have been the same for Aaron because Aaron was still in the league. If he still wanted to play, that'd be a tough one because it's a distraction now. Anytime you play another team, all the fans have to yell, "It's killer, killer!" It's just craziness like that or whatever. So it's no telling if Aaron got off and he played again, that he would be the same player. I mean, he's probably broken now.
Yeah.
And, by everybody, like I said, when they get on there and start taunting them and everything else, it's only going to get in his head even more. So I don't think his career would have ever been the same, but he had a guaranteed $40 million. He could make the best out of it.
Yeah.
Put that money somewhere, invest the money. Yeah.
Or he might have been able to play like either a foreign team, like international team, or one of those like junior, like the sort of team that Odin was playing on. Maybe one of those teams might have picked him up. But I don't see the NFL at all.
I don't see no team in the United States picking him up after that.
Yeah. Well, he is found not guilty, surprisingly. His lawyers say they will start the appeal on his first trial and do everything to get him home. And I honestly actually believe it because like I said, if they were able to get him off in this trial, I do feel like they might have had a good chance of appealing the first one. What are your thoughts?
Oh, they would have got him off.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Ortiz, when he testified, they were going to eat him up anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what did they offer you? What did you get out of this? And there's a lot of guys that say, oh, they didn't offer me anything. But then you see that their prisons have changed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, they said you the cupcake.
Yeah.
So this is an offering.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of, prosecutors try to offer them without making it seem like an offer or this, that, the other. Yeah, they would have been to tear this case apart also.
Well, we get another radio scene. They're discussing Aaron and Odin, and they're making gay jokes. So to me, it was almost like the defense was like, okay, we didn't get to use that in trial. I don't know. They leaked it. I don't know, because this is after he was found not guilty.
Oh, yeah, they leaked it.
But all the inmates, they have access to radio, so they're listening to it. And then one of them just immediately confronts him, calls him a cocksucker, the F word. And Aaron just kind of runs off saying, like, shut up.
You already know if the prosecutor couldn't use it in court, they wanted to leak it and use it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've seen it on enough shows.
Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it on enough shows that they said leak it, whatever. My problem with this situation is, first off, you don't know this as a fact. You're using this as entertainment. They was like, yeah, what we heard, yeah, we got some inside information, whatever. Another thing, this guy's in jail, and you're putting out this information. I just think it was bad taste, but when something out there, you can't control what people do with it.
Yep. So we immediately see Aaron go get high right after this. And this is sort of when everything's happening because you don't know what's a dream, what's not. Some of it's a dream because he's high and he dreams his dad visits him. Because when they first said you got a visitor, I'm like, well, isn't it nighttime? And his dad says, like, if I wasn't around, things would have been different. You wouldn't have fucked up. And Aaron's like, why didn't you ever love me? And he says, you hurt a lot of people. And he says he's hurt a lot of people and he's been in so much pain for as long as he can remember. And that's when his dad's like, I love you. I love you. I love you. And repeats it. And Aaron says it too. And then he's like, God loves all of us. And he's like, I'm finally free. And you hear the crowd cheering. So all of this is, of course, a dream. And that's when a guard notices Aaron's door has like glitter over it, like obstructing its view. And John 3:16 is on the wall, and it appears that Aaron hung himself.
It's kind of hard for me, not to have sympathy for who's been through these situations, and that there was something that happened in their life that may have pushed him in a certain direction, or as you see with Aaron. Not only was he supposedly, because this is still hearsay, him being abused as a kid, but if we're going by the show, you have his uncle touched him. His father was pretty abusive. His mother was pretty abusive. And he had CTE. His brain was like worse than any brain that, like Daughter said, this is worse than any brain that we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So with all of that going on, it's kind of hard not to feel sorry for him, person, individual, not the things he's done, because I don't feel sorry for him for the things he's done. He deserves to be where he's at in prison for what he's done, but just everything that's happened to him in his life.
Right. I agree. Well, we get DJ and Terry. They're meeting with the lawyer and Shay, and they're like, the BU Brain Bank wants to research his brain, and time is of the essence. So this might be as early as a day after he's passed. So it's kind of hard for the family. And DJ and Shay were like, yes, because we need answers. We need to know what was wrong. Something was wrong with him. And Terry's like, no, I don't want them cutting up my son's brain and everything like that. And DJ goes like, you know what? I saw him in Cali, and he was thinking about suicide then. All those hits that happened, like, yes, Mom, we need answers.
It's crazy that she didn't want answers. And this shows you how she felt about him.
Yeah.
Like, cut that. I don't want them cutting in my son's head.
It's like she didn't want to know.
It's like she didn't want to know because she didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had nothing to gain from it.
Yep. Well, this is when now we get the result of that research. It was pretty graphic, like showing them cut the brain, everything like that. It was a lot, but I think it was important to show. The scientist says, hey, frontal lobe, there was a lot of frontal lobe damage. Other parts of his brain was also damaged. And if he had lived, he probably was about 10 years away from being fully impaired. And people, the sports people, we see different analysts talking. We see Stephen A. Smith. We see like real conversations of, these big sports casters, and they're talking about it. They ask Belichick again what his thoughts are. What's his thoughts on CTE? What are they talking to the players about CTE? And Belichick does what Belichick does. And he's like, yo, that's a medical question. I divert all the medical questions to the medical staff, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, he did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's not his field of expertise. I wish more people would do that.
Yeah, that you want me to speak on something that's not my expertise. So really, it would just be an opinion, not a matter of fact. You need to go ahead and talk to the people who studied that, who know about that type of stuff. And then the final scene is just Shay watching little kids play football, and I was a little disappointed that they didn't show us, because I thought they did it on OJ. They didn't show us any real life, okay, like this is where Shay is now. This is where this lawyer went off to this. DJ's doing this. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to do a show on real life, we're watching Monsters, the Menendez brothers, so I don't know if they'll do it for that, because we're like on episode 2 or 3. We're still early. But I don't know. I appreciate that when they do a show on real people.
Well, you have to understand that this show was just a cash grab.
Yeah.
They didn't have real people's permission to do real people nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even know how accurate or anything else. Yeah, I'm starting to question if Aaron was even a part of it. Like, this show right here was just a cash grab, and it's disgusting that it was, because it is based on real life. They're talking about real things that happen to people, and we don't know what's true and what's not.
Yep.
So they can't do all that stuff like, oh, this is where this person is at, what they're doing. They don't have people's permission.
I agree. So, excellent show. Really loved it. We haven't gotten any listener feedback all season, but we do finally actually have one from Jason. He wrote us a few times, so we're actually going to discuss some of the things he's mentioned here. All right, so there's a few thoughts from Jason. I'll read them here. And originally he was like, I think the guy was wrong. He's talking about Garrett. I think the guy is wrong about the reasons why Meyer got rid of Aaron at the end of the episode. So this is when Coach Meyer told Aaron, hey, I'm not having you back next season, when he was still playing college football. And he says, I mean, it was made clear throughout the episode that Coach Meyer was fed up with Aaron's antics and misbehavior. He wanted him gone because of the bad behavior, and that the heat that Aaron was bringing on the program, all along with the other misbehaving players. The coach even says during this scene that he has no place for Aaron next year. I think the recruiting angle is valid and just a side benefit, but ultimately Myers was attempting to clean house. And he goes, anyways, I'm glad you guys are covering the show. It's quite fascinating to see the context play out on TV. Like, I know the whole story, not sure about all the details, but just seeing all these different points in his life where he could have gone down a better path is heartbreaking. And see what a nice, happy guy he was growing up, if not for the evil father. Yeah, I mean, I agree to some points. I agree that it's heartbreaking to see that, damn, he made it. You know how many people would love to go to NFL, and you made, I mean, he not only made it NFL, even just getting recruited from the college was a very big deal.
Yeah, it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
But one thing that was said that wasn't accurate is that he said that Coach Myers attempted to clean house. That's not true. Coach Myers, players were in trouble way after that, after Aaron left. He was still I'm not going to say encouraging, but he was still accepting bad behavior. If Coach Myers would have cleaned house that season, when we saw the show that he said, hey, they had him talk to his wife like, yeah, I'm tired of this. I'm getting rid of the bad seeds. He said it on the show, but we know it is not true and it didn't happen. We know that probably after Aaron, there was still like 20-something other cases of people that's been in trouble under Coach Myers. So he didn't attempt to clean house. So we're not going to go with that. We're not going to use that.
All right. Well, Jason continues. He says the guy on the podcast he's talking about, Gary, is legit stupid. Sorry about that, Gary.
I don't care.
He says Aaron told his cousin Tanya that he was on a guy's trip. So this is the episode, I guess, after the the Cabo trip. And he goes, the female podcaster, he's talking about me, clearly knows how to read subtext. It's obvious Tanya knew or suspected he was gay. I do feel like that. I do feel like that. She might have known. Because even later on when she's talking to Shay and she's like talking about how he was playing with all the girls, like what was the point of that story?
I think in later on episodes, by her bringing up stuff that maybe she suspected it was just never confirmed. Like even on the last, when she visited him last, she said, I wish you could have lived your life, this, that, the other. Yeah, we could try to dig deep into it and say, oh, yeah, she's talking about this part of it. But it was never confirmed.
Yeah. And then Jason's last message, because I did write him back saying apologies that we haven't been discussing his feedback yet. I didn't check the email. He says, apologize for the rude behavior and calling you dumb. I was just heated because it seems like the female co-host, which is me, on the show is clearly seeing all the nuance and care the writers and actors are putting into this show, while the male co-host, Gary, is just giving very weird takes that don't seem to be based on the show they were presented and is unable to accept any type of contrary opinion. Anyways, hope the last episode is released soon. While I acknowledge that the gay character Chris was made up completely just for TV, I have to say it was a good addition. I think it helped elaborate all the conflicting emotions going through Aaron Hernandez and how he could never fully be himself. Yeah, I'll say as far as Chris, I didn't know Chris was made up, but I was trying.
The whole show was made up.
one or two times I looked at I think Vulture was doing articles after every episode, and I read a few here and there. But really, I was like, you know what? I don't want outside influences, influencing me. So I just tried to stick to whatever they showed on the show as it is what it is. I mean, we even on the People vs. OJ, they kind of did some things, and we're like, okay, right. Did that really happen? They take liberties.
And I think that me and Nicole, which we always do if you listen to other podcasts, we take different approach. Nicole takes the approach, solely on the shows. And I try to take the approach of what we actually know or what actually happened when we cover these shows. Yeah, even with our OJ, go back and listen to that. I take the stance of, okay, yeah, this happened in the show, but I looked it up and I can't find anything on this. Like you said, like Chris wasn't real. A lot of things that happen on this show never happened. And so I try to bring both takes like, okay, this happened on the show, but I can't find this anywhere.
Yeah. Well, thanks for writing in, Jason. We appreciate it. All right. Well, that is all we got. We appreciate you guys following us through this season. We really like the People versus the Ryan Murphy shows, the People versus OJ, the People. We also did the regular American crime story.
Right.
I think we did like 1 or 2 seasons of that years ago. So this was a good one. I'd rather it have more facts. We missed the Monica Lewinsky one. I kind of want to go back.
Yeah, I want to go back to that.
I want to go back to that because I was so young when that happened. But I'm all for entertainment. But when you're talking about real people,
right,
just stick to the facts as much as possible. Because that's the whole point. We're watching it and we want to watch it. Yes, it needs to be digestible. You're telling a story. So, yeah, you're going to add a little flavor here and there. But try to keep as much as you can confirm that happened. Because once we watch the Monica one, I'm like, I want to know. I want to see what happens. Maybe we'll pod on it. But yeah, that's my only advice for these Ryan Murphy shows. But of course, he is out for entertainment and for money.
Yeah, that's why I said this right here seemed like more of a cash grab.
Might have to watch a documentary if you want the real story.
Because, after each episode and you look it up and you realize, no, that can't be confirmed.
That
didn't happen. No, this person's not real. No,
that's why I think I stopped reading the Vulture articles, because everything they're like, okay, this didn't happen. I'm like, oh no, or we don't have proof that this happened. I'm like, okay, just stop, because now it's going to take me out of the show. But I rather them put a little more care and not just keep it as entertainment. Look at Netflix with The Crown. They did a really wonderful job. I think people should use that as the example to attain to as far as when you're talking about real people and things of that sort. There's things that you can't confirm there, but they did a really good job. And I would love for the American crime stories to get to that level of care and artistic value, like such as The Crown.
And I think that's another reason how you say you like the OJ one, and they were able to kind of show you after, like, when it went off, they was able to show you them actually putting on a glove.
Yeah.
They actually able to show you real people and the real situations that they were in at the time, when they can't do that for the show.
Yeah. All right, well, that is all we got. Remember, I am still podcasting the TV show From on my podcast, Small Screen Sagas. You can follow me there. I'll probably be doing my instant cast of From either today. If I don't watch today, then I'll watch tomorrow and do an instant cast there. But really enjoying that show. It's on season 3. Love it. And keep following us here on The Verdict's In, because we're definitely coming out with something soon. If not the Monica Lewinsky, maybe we'll do something light. We don't know. We might need to mix it up and do something light, or we might just do the American Crime, the Monica Lewinsky story. Well, it wasn't called Monica Lewinsky, but it was.
Yeah, it's the Monica
Lewinsky story.
The Monsters are looking pretty good too.
Monsters is real good. That show's dark though. Like, I don't know how people binge it. We watch like one episode and we're like, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
take a break.
Have to watch something else.
Yeah, like I can't binge Monsters. It's so dark, but it's really good. It's on Netflix. All right. Until then, I'm Nicole.
I'm Gary.
Bye.